done is training in the SID. We have done training also in the in the ECD. I believe, have we done in what? What? We have not done what yet. Okay, I believe the teams will be coming to what, but ECD and SID have had their training. When you get your training, we've got a lot of resources. It comes with manuals. This is a facilitator manual. They give you the soft copy of that and you can see how you make sure that you spread that. That's the facilitator manual. Then you've got the participant manual. These are some of the resources that you get from there. And then we've got the Youth Alive handbook. And above that, we've got also some brochures and a number of others like the Youth Alive Pledge. So these are some of the material that the General Conference has put together, and it gives to you when you are being trained. Then you have that so that they help you actual as physical resources that you can move with the program on. In the Youth Alive, we talk about friendship groups. Can I have the next slide that is talking to friendship groups? A friendship group is the critical part of the Youth Alive. Why? Because Youth Alive touches on critical issues that are personal. And it's not easy. Well, I can do it. I'm not so sure how many people can do it. To come and open up to people that are strangers. You want people that you feel comfortable with, right? If you have a situation at home of abuse, you want to tell somebody. It's not in the prayer band where you say, "You pray for me, my father beats me every night." It doesn't work like that. You open up when you are in a group of friends. So we encourage that you'll be having friendship groups, maybe up to about 10 members, because it allows you then to open up. It allows you to gauge when you are ready. Maybe you have other people. I know that a number of young people are struggling with addictive things, and I'm going to talk about that in a little while. Maybe you are struggling with alcohol. Maybe you got baptized when you were already drinking when you're coming from there, and they didn't give you the tools to stop drinking. But you don't want them to find out in the church that you are struggling with that. You are not likely to go and open up on a platform, are you? Will you? Nah, I don't think so. But if you are in a group of friends, you are able to begin to work with other people who can take you to a place where you can find assistance. So this is why we are saying that these kinds of groups are what we are encouraging. How do you form a group? It's all written in the manuals there. The manual takes you through how to form the groups, how to work as a group, what sort of things you can do in the group. All of that is written in the manual. So I would really encourage you, because we would love to see the Youth Alive clubs and Youth Alive groups throughout this whole territory of Africa of ours. And you will see the few topics that we are dealing with. Now, we have something very special called the Youth Alive Pledge that should be showing on the screen just about now. I had hoped for the big screen there because the pledge is critical for you to understand what Youth Alive is about. Can you see what is there? Can you see it? No, yes, okay, then I am going to say that, and I would like you to repeat after me. It's in you saying it that you will begin to understand what the pledge is about. Pledge. Say after me, please. Pledge. I pledge to choose Jesus Christ as my highest power. I want to be healthy and happy. I will say no to alcohol. I will say no to tobacco. I will say no to illegal drugs. I will say no to pornography. I will say no to compulsive gaming. I will say no to any unhealthy behavior. I will help my friends to say no to these things too. I pledge to stand up for what I know is right. My choice, fully alive. If I run out of time, that is what Youth Alive is all about. the issues of saying no to all these things, the empowerment, and how do you go about that. Do you see that? I hope you don't forget what I'm talking about, but if for whatever reason you forget everything I'm saying, remember the pledge, because it will give you the stage of what Youth Alive is all about. Now, in Youth Alive, in the next slide, the critical part of Youth Alive, we talk about empowerment. You can get on internet and Google search the Seventh-day Adventist and ICOR, that is written like that. It will help you to understand what ICOR is, the Church of Refuge. That's the church is a place where young people should be running to. I won't go much into that, it's a whole program, you can see it. But it encapsulates part of the critical things on Youth Alive. It's about empowerment. Empowerment includes mentoring. Mentoring people to become what they should be. Leading, training, and we take our impetus on that book, Unlikely Leaders by Mrs. White. It says, the church is God's fortress, his city of refuge, which he holds in the world in revolt. That's what our churches should be. Young people are struggling with those things we just talked about, the alcohol, the drugs, the pornography, all those things. They need to come to church and find refuge in there. And the spirit of prophecy talks about that. Just as I mentioned on empowerment, we define in the next slide, empowerment, as a process where a more experienced person supports another. I'm not seeing it on the slides. Please, next slide. Developing outside the normal line of management. In other words, when you empower, when you are mentoring somebody, it's not just managing them. It's not just telling them what not to do. It is actually holding their hands and lifting them up to where you are. In the next slide, Mrs. White talks about, in the same book, Unlikely Leaders, says, workers who refuse to team up with others, who have had long experience in the work of God, will be unable to tell the difference between the false and the true. And young people, I would encourage you to take this message to heart. Because as young people, we have a lot of energy. We want to change the church. The church has been stagnant for so long. That's why it is so boring. That's why there's no change. There's no this, that, and the other. It's okay. We all want to have our history. We all want our time to have been felt. But there's a reason why the church still stands. Amen? The church is still there because of some of those boring things that are there. There are some things that are so critical to the church that have anchored it's okay to modernize. It's okay to find things. It's okay to fine-tune some things and fill your space. But remember, you are standing on a space. You are sitting in a building. Somebody built that building. Somebody made that space be there. Therefore, your methods that are so nice and so brilliant cannot be everything there is. Okay? The spirit of prophecy says, if we are not empowering you, if we are not mentoring you as the leaders, you will soon not know right from wrong. We will soon struggle to get the things from outside to bring them into the church because we are trying to spice up things. We can't spice up things so much that we cannot recognize ourselves. It is important for us to know who we are first as young people, okay? Now, in the next slide, I just touch briefly on some of the topics that we find in Youth Alive. In the interest of time, I'm just going to mention a few of them. I think I'll just mention the top 3 there. We talk about dating and relating challenges, because a lot of the young people who are in that place where you are looking for life partners. What are the issues that are there? We are in Youth Alive. This is the space where you start to air those issues. The issues of peer pressure. I've already alluded to issues of addiction, and I'm going to be going more onto that. Come to our workshop, where I'll be expanding more. Oh, this one. You should put something here, yes. Come to our workshop, where we'll be talking more about risky behavior. But let's talk a little bit on issues of dating. In the next slide, I'm talking about dating violence. Why is this important that in a plenary, a big place like this where the whole of Africa is gathered, we talk about it? Because as the world, we are struggling with this issue of violence. Violence and abuse of women and children, right? Every country is having that problem. But when you look closely at that problem, you'll notice that it doesn't just start when people are now married and they are older. A lot of times, it starts even at dating. When you start to get close to the person and you are preparing to get married, the issues of violence are already showing themselves there. At the slide is showing, we talk about dating violence. Dating violence basically is when someone you are seeing romantically harms you in some way. It can be physical, it can be sexual, it can be emotional. And it is important as Adventist young people that you learn to recognize that. Because when that person is already being violent with you, when you are dating, what is he going to do now when you are married? She's now your wife. She's going to be controlling you much more. So it is important at Youth Alive that we talk about this level of it. Now, I'm just going to mention a few signs of unhealthy relationships which we are looking at in the next slide. And please go with me, don't... Okay, stop right there, because then the next one you have got to move one click at a time. These are some of the signs of an unhealthy relationship. The intensity. You are in a relationship, you feel it in yourself that this relationship is moving too fast. You know, the next moment is hello, good morning, how are you? Then he wants to touch your hand, and then he wants to kiss you, and everything in you is screaming no. You should know you are in a wrong relationship. That's an unhealthy relationship. The other thing is manipulating. You don't love me. If you loved me, you would have done 1, 2, 3, so that to give you a guilty feeling. A relationship is not about manipulation, it's about both of you. So nobody should guilt you into doing things that you are uncomfortable with. The other part of it is, why are you always bringing your friends? When you are trying to go on a date, you always want to have somebody else. Mrs. White talks about the chaperone. In the olden days, we had the aunties that will go along. But he wants you to be alone. No, these friends of yours, they interfere. You know you are all mine. We should have our own little private space. Watch out for that. Because that is a sign of an unhealthy relationship. Let's put the next clicks, next one please. Okay, isolation, put the next click. And then the next one. Jealousy. Now, somebody starts to be so jealous, and I've heard young people saying, oh, he loves me so much. He doesn't even want anybody to talk to me. You know, if some people talk to me, he's so jealous. Jealousy is not a sign that you are loved a lot. It's an unhealthy form of relationship. Let's look at the next one there. Guiltying. I think we've talked about that one. Give me the next one. Sabotage. You come up with plans to go to church. He's somehow so great that he has managed to, maybe the car is not okay, maybe, you know, there's always something. And you don't understand, why is it that every time I want this to be done, this happens? The person is simply sabotaging your plans so that you end up where he or she wants you to end up. That is a sign of an unhealthy relationship. Let's look at the next one, just to click the next two. Deflecting responsibility. Why don't you do 1, 2, 3? But that is yours to do. But that is yours to do. That person is already starting to abuse you because you are the only one who is taking all the responsibility. And then on the next one, oh, she is just a girl. She can't do anything. You know, girls are not good at these kinds of things. Boys don't do that. That's belittling you. You are a full person as you are. That is a sign of an unhealthy relationship. And then I think let's get the last click on this one here. He's gonna go mad. If he comes in here and he finds that I haven't cleaned, have you had those kinds of relationships? He comes and he finds that I've moved his things from here to there. Oh, he's gonna blow up. These unpredictable tempers. Try to get help before you tie the knot with such a person. Because that is where we end up with the abuse and the violence and these all things we are talking about in the family. I want you to look at the next video. I hope it plays. It talks to peer pressure. Can we play the next video, please? properly. Why did you stop? Okay, stop it right there and move to the next slide. The video, I had hoped that they told me that they have this project up here because there are some things that are better said by the owners. The message in the video, it shows that a lot of people end up doing these addictive things like smoking and drinking because of what they watch. The spirit of prophecy tells us how we should be careful about the movies that you watch, the novels that you read, okay? You can be thinking, no, I'm just watching an innocent movie. In the video, they show you placements that you are watching an innocent movie, but some people who are wearing all of these labeled clothes are smoking or are drinking. It's building in your subconscious that if I use a Nike, if I use a Reebok, I'm using the sports trademarks out there, then I am a cool person. But this so-and-so, who is the icon for this particular brand, he was smoking. In your mind, it says smoking is okay. So those are some of the things that you have got to watch out for. Now, some of the topics that we cover is addiction. In the next slide that we are looking at is looking at addiction. I'm going to take a few minutes talking about addiction because it is a big problem now. What is addiction? I've put up a definition there. Addiction is the repeated involvement with a substance or activity that has a deemed pleasurable effect on you, but it is harmful to you. It doesn't say that you know or you don't know. The only thing that you know is when you have done that thing, you feel so good, you feel so happy, you feel so relaxed. Whatever it is, the kind of your definition of pleasure. But as you are doing that, that thing is hurting you. Now, in the next slide, I'm taking you through a little bit of a deep science course talking about this hormone that we call dopamine. The body has got a hormone that we call dopamine, which is called a happy hormone. It's a very, very interesting hormone. It's released in the brain. Now, the hormone, the body can stimulate the release of that hormone through all your senses. It can be stimulated through taste. You eat a sweet. It tastes so good. Tomorrow you want to eat it again because you want to get that taste, that nice taste. It's not so much about the taste, it's what is going on in your brain. The same thing can be stimulated through your eyes. That is why you've got pornography addiction. Because you look at something and you look at something and you look at something and now, when you get that feeling, tomorrow you want that again. So you put that thing again and you look again and you look so that you keep getting the feeling. It can be with ears. You are listening to certain type of music. When I listen to it relaxes me. I've got to just listen to this over and over again. You keep looking for that feeling. It's the same thing with the nose. That's why you've got your cocaine that is being smoked, sniffed through the nose, because it goes into the nose and it hits the spot. And it's like, and you keep going for that feeling. It can also be stimulated through touch. That is why all of us want to be touched, including babies. A baby is screaming and whatever, you hold it and grab it, it releases that and the baby feels, and you see them that way. So that hormone is the critical thing when it comes to addiction. Then the next slide here, I am showing you the cycle of addiction. The cycle of addiction is a very simple but complex cycle. Remember the senses that we've just talked about? So you go and indulge in the activity. The activity, whether it is seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, hearing, whatever it is, that activity stimulates that hormone. When the dopamine level reaches a certain level in your body, you get the aha feeling. You get that nice, fuzzy feeling that you get out of it. If you want to picture it, think about when you are very, very thirsty and you drink water. You know how it feels? Phew, that's refreshing. Somebody who smokes is the same kind of thing. He smokes and then, phew. So, as long as the dopamine levels are at a certain level in your body feels that warm, fuzzy thing. But then, it happens that you've got substances in the system that are meant to destroy that dopamine because it's not meant to stay at that high level. So after some time, the level of dopamine in your bloodstream goes down. And when it goes down, comes the slump again. You see this person who was so high, and then it's like, I can't do anything. And sometimes it goes so negative, they start to shake. And then they feel, the only way to get back again is for me to do what? Smoke again, if it is smoking. Watch a new movie, if it is a new movie. Drink something, if it was something you drank. So they go back again, and they drink it, and the dopamine level goes high and high. You understand? You see how it goes? So then you get into that cycle of addiction. So over and over again, the people keep doing that. Why do people then do it? Let's look at the next slide. People get into addictions because they want to, first and foremost, relax. You've heard that. I just want to relax myself. Some people get into the next point, they want to experiment, especially young people. How come they look so happy? They seem to be much better than me, so you want to experiment. The problem is, once your brain has been touched with that, you get into that cycle. And then you keep wanting to get that feel good that you had that next time. Next slide. Yes, the next point talks about the feel good. The next point talks about you want to escape feelings. I'm feeling so down. I'm feeling so low. What can I do? Let's go to the pub. If you go to the pub, you'll feel much better. That's how you end up in that cycle. Others, they've got, in the next few points, just click the next two, they're trying to cope with feelings of loss. People have started getting on drugs because they were feeling down, they have lost something. I've heard this one. I want to go and tell her, or gentlemen, I want to go and propose to her, but I can't. I want courage. Who has ever seen courage living in a bottle? You know that? They go and take a little bit of courage to stiffen the nerves so that they can go and talk. And then next time, every time you have to do something, you need a bit of courage. And that courage is not a prayer. It is somewhere hidden at the bottom of the bottle because you keep drinking to get to the bottom. You understand? And then you get into that cycle of addiction. And of course, you can do it because you want to fit in with friends. And the next point. Now, let's talk quickly through the next slide, please. There are three types of addictions that I'm going to talk. Just let all the three of them roll quickly. I'm running after time. Addictions, we find them in three different areas. Substance addiction or abuse, activities, and people. Those are the most common ones. Before I get into the next ones, I'll just talk about people because I don't think I have slides on that. Many of us don't realize that you can be addicted to a person. You know that? You feel that I can't do this thing unless this person is here. And this is why in many countries we've got, in my country they call them passion killings. Do they call them in your country? When the girlfriend or boyfriend don't want to be together anymore, the other one then kills the other one. And that is why they say, no, if I can't have him, nobody can have him. Or, I can't live my life without you. And girls like to say that, please don't leave me, don't leave me. You know I cannot survive without you. Hey, you are addicted to the person. You cannot have a person who is such a lifeline that you can't live with. When you are with that person, the dopamine levels shoots up. So you have to be with the person all the time. So addiction can be about the persons. Let's go to the next slide because I'm looking at substance addiction and I'm having only 10 minutes left. Substance addictions, these are some of the main ones that we have. They are not the only ones. We talk about alcohol. I'm mentioning them because we are experiencing them in the church. Our young people in the church are struggling with this. Alcohol, tobacco. In our areas now we are having marijuana being legalized, makes it very difficult. And then different psychoactive drugs, which means drugs that act on your brain. These can be prescriptive, or they can be some that we are getting on the street. The education department has put together the next video that's going to be playing. Let's play the next one. Play that video, please. Watch and let's listen. No, not that one. Go back.
Prescription drugs. Almost 50% of teens think that using them is safer than using illegal street drugs.
No, that's not. We are not playing the right video.
Not true.
Please press play on that. Yes, that one. Press play there. Technology, where are you when I need you? That's from the education department. I'll be in trouble if I don't play their video. Are we coming? Yes. Okay, let's have the sound.
What your church, school, teachers, parents, and others rarely tell you is how much fun drugs and alcohol can be. Beer, wine, hard liquor, marijuana, ecstasy, shrooms, or crystal meth, even prescription drugs like Vicodin and Adderall can provide a pleasurable escape from the predictability of daily life. Softer drugs like alcohol and marijuana can also be great stress relievers. There is research to suggest that these actually have health benefits. And yet, it is a core value of the Seventh-day Adventist Church to not drink, do drugs, or abuse narcotics. The 22nd fundamental belief reads, since alcoholic beverages, tobacco, and the irresponsible use of drugs and narcotics are harmful to our bodies, we are to abstain from them. Instead, we are to engage in whatever brings our thoughts and bodies into the discipline of Christ, who desires our wholesomeness, joy, and goodness. Are Adventists not aware of recent research regarding marijuana and alcohol? Don't Adventists know that having that third helping of cheesecake, those 4 super links, or weighing 300 pounds can be worse for you than having a beer on the weekend? Didn't Jesus turn water into wine? Doesn't the Bible say that those with a heavy heart should be given strong drink? Maybe you already use drugs and alcohol, and nothing noticeably negative has happened. You might even know a brother, sister, parent, uncle, friend, or other loved one that consumes alcohol or narcotics on a regular basis, and you may think they're doing just fine. The honest truth is that many people drink and do drugs and live long, happy, and productive lives. So why don't Adventists drink or abuse narcotics? Simply put, the Adventist value of healthy living reduces unnecessary risks and allows us a fuller, richer life. You're young, and you'll live forever, right? Truth be told, unless Jesus comes, you're going to die, and chances are you'll want to put off your death. Here's a short list of the negative effects of alcohol on your body from the National Institutes of Health. Cognitive impairment, increased aggression, memory loss, mood change, cardiomyopathy, arrhythmias, stroke, high blood pressure, heart disease, alcoholic hepatitis, fibrosis, cirrhosis, pancreatitis, cancer of the mouth, esophagus, throat, liver, breast. That's the short list from the National Institutes of Health, the world's authority on health. When they say drinking is unhealthy, it is.
Okay. I hope you got something out of that. The technology thing is not working very well for us. But for your information, you saw that link that I showed you, the Youth Alive Tube. Go to that link and watch the whole of this video. It answers a lot of questions with young people because young people say Jesus turned the water into wine, therefore we should drink. Timothy said to Paul, put a little bit of alcohol, therefore we should drink. Watch that because it will help you have the answers to yourself and also to your friends. Medically speaking, you've seen all the side effects, and I'm winding up now because my time is running out. On the next slide there, I want you to have this verse in your minds. Do not look on the wine when it is red. I can see that, yes. When it sparkles in the cup, when it goes down smoothly, at the last it bites like a serpent and stings like a viper. That's what the Spirit says. The bite and the sting of the serpent is nothing other than the side effects that we are showing you there. there is death inside. But before you die, you are going to suffer first. Now, as I said, these are just some of the highlights of the things that we have in Youth Alive. The training itself is a week long. The material is a lot. The time I'm given here is not enough. So I'm not able to cover a lot of things. If you want to come and hear more about Youth Alive, come to our workshop. I'm going to ask the person at the back there to scroll quickly to the last slide. Are you able to do that, sir? Okay, thank you very much. Youth Alive, in short, I've skipped a number of slides in there where we talk about gaming, we talk about pornography, we talk about a lot of things, but you can come to the workshop and see how we deal with it. But I just want to summarize here and say to you, Youth Alive is a youth discipleship program. It's designated to build resilience against at-risk behavior. It targets you, the teens, and the young people. We know that we have to live in this world, but we know that we are not to be of this world. Therefore, as you are struggling with those things, see if you can put a Youth Alive club, a Youth Alive group, and get all these resources to bring some of the resilience, some of the help for your people. Thank you very much. Can you put my last slide there? Oh, I thought I had left my contact details. I don't have the contact details. But thank you very much. You've been wonderful.
Good afternoon. Good morning. Oh, you are paying attention. That's nice. Good morning, everyone. Announcements. There will be a change in the order of the program. So in the program, it says we're going to have official opening later in the evening. But actually, we've changed it around, so we're going to have it at 2 o'clock. When are we going to have it? Okay, 2 o'clock is going to have the official opening. Then later on, we have a special program called Let's Talk. So Let's Talk is basically seeking clarity from all the presenters of the day. So if you want to hear more or you have a question to ask any of the presenters from morning manna all the way to the plenary session or the workshops or wherever, please prepare your questions. So get a piece of paper, write your questions, and then I'll show you later where we're going to collect the questions. And then in the evening, we'll have the presenters here and then review the questions and have them answer them. Is that clear? Okay, and then another announcement is that registration is ongoing. Registration is ongoing. If you have not registered yet, please visit the tents, get your registration on. A couple more announcements. We need the union directors for Cameroon, union directors for Cameroon, West Sahel, Tanzania, and Kenya. Please, we need you. Go to the balcony to meet with Pastor Paco, as well as Dr. Kavis and Pastor Malekeo. Dr. Kavis and Pastor Malekeo, please join the union directors that we've highlighted up there. Next, we're going to have Pastor Ugo. He's going to give us an orientation on the workshops. After this, we're going to the workshops starting from 11 o'clock. He's going to give us a summary of how we're going to go about it. Pastor Ugo.
Thank you. Good morning once again, everyone. Just some pieces of information regarding our workshops. We are just going to do this today because this is the first day and the first time for the day. After this time, we expect that everybody understands what to do. The first information to everyone is that every delegate is to attend 6 workshops. And by the grace of God, we have 20 workshops. As you would see on the program, we're supposed to have 22, but 2 of our presenters are not going to be present for some obvious reasons. Other than that, all the other 20 workshops, which I would introduce to you shortly, are going to hold. Then the other information you need to know is that we expect a minimum of 50 persons in each of the workshops and a maximum of 70. We are blessed as a church. We have resource persons that have been, that are experienced and are willing to share with us their wealth of knowledge and experience during this workshop. So I want to encourage every delegate to take advantage of these workshops, because we have carefully chosen those who are presenting these workshops. And at this time, I would want to introduce to us the presenters, the resource persons for these workshops. I would appeal to them that when I call on you, you come forward so that the delegates will see you and identify you. We know it's on the program, but we are doing this so we can make things a little more easier for all of us. And in addition to that, we have also assigned some support team to each of the presenters. So when I invite each of the presenters, I would also invite the support team member that will be working with each of these workshop presenters. I want to begin with the first on the list, and that is Think Big. That one is going to hold in the Food and Consumer Science building. You're going to get some help. That building is somewhere behind the humanities. But you'll get some help as we step out for those who will be going that direction. And we have, you have all the details on the program booklet, but I just want to invite Stephen Apola. He is the Associate Director of Publishing Ministries for the General Conference. I hope he's here. Just come forward, please. All right, it looks like he stepped out, but he's going to be in that. Oh, yes, he's here. Come on, please. And I want to invite a team member that will be working with him. So this is for the Think Big workshop. And I believe we all need to think big in this generation. So avail yourself of this workshop. Then the other workshop will be in room 15. And that is the beauty of Christian living. The beauty of Christian living. That will be taken by Burton Monga, the youth director for North Zambia Union Conference. Where is he? Please come forward, Pastor. Okay. And at the same time, I want to invite the support team that will be working with him. Support team member, please come forward. This workshop will be taking place in room 15. Room 15 is also behind the Humanities building. You would be directed. I think it is kind of close to the Food and Nutrition and Consumer Science building. The other workshop is Senior Youth Leadership Curriculum. This would be taking place in room 17. We have Malembe Fields, Malembe Tatasi Fields. He is the youth director for the Northeast Congo Union Mission. Let me invite him to come forward. Thank you. And the support team member, please come. These other workshops will be in the Humanities building, and that's a building just next to the church here. The first on the list there is tapping No, sorry. Morality. The workshop on morality, and that would be in room 104. And I have Eugene Leon Franch. He is the executive secretary of the Zimbabwe Central Union Conference. Welcome, Pastor. The support team, please come. All right, the next is tapping on the power of digital media. This one is another interesting one for young people. We have Gideon Mutero from the General Conference. All right, the support team for Gideon. Gideon is one of the vice president for Hope Channel International at the General Conference. He is going to be leading out in that that workshop. The next is lifestyle health development. Pardon? The room number, I'm sorry. The room number is H105. H105. And then the next is lifestyle health development. This will be in room 106. We have Alexi Laguno from the General Conference. Also, he is the executive director for Adventist AIDS International Ministries. Okay. The support team, please come forward. Then the next is worship dynamics. That will be in room 101 in the Humanities Building. We have Sustain Samson Mfune. He is the Associate Children Ministries Director for the General Conference. Welcome, Pastor. Welcome, sir. And then we have Youth Alive. That will be 101. Youth Alive will be in H204. We have Bangwato Ramabu. Please pardon me for the last name. I have some challenge. She is the Health Ministries Director for SID. The room number is 204. H204. H204. And then the next is public evangelism, and that will be in room 203. H203. And we have Kisses for that. He is the Deputy Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs in this university. Maybe he's somewhere attending to some issues, but he would be present in room H203 at the appointed time for public evangelism workshop. The next is cross-cultural relations, and that will be in room 201, H201. We have Oscar Osindo. Oscar Osindo is the Associate Director, Institute of World Missions for the General Conference. We heard him this morning. Okay. You're welcome, Pastor. And then the support team. That will be in room 201. Then the next is committee boardroom etiquette. That will be committee/board etiquette, sorry. That will be in room H102. We have Geoffrey Mbwana, the Vice President General Conference, would be sharing with us some wealth of experience in management of meetings. Welcome, Pastor. The support team, thank you. Then we have the Spirit of Prophecy, Relevance on Youth Ministries. That will be in room 207, and we have John Enang, the Adventist Chaplaincy Director and Spirit of Prophecy for WAD. I understand he arrived a few minutes ago. I don't know if he's made his way down here already. Otherwise, he would be present in room 207 at the appointed time. Then we have volunteering. This one will be in the conference room at the Humanities Building. The conference room, Humanities Building. And we have Mafosa. I don't want to try the first name. She is advocate of the High Court, Supreme Court, and Constitutional Court of Zimbabwe. Is she here? I'm told I didn't pronounce it well. Nyarazo. I'm sorry, please. I'm not familiar with the name. All right. The next, but is she here? Anyway, she would be in the room at the appointed time, and the room is the conference room at the Humanities Building. The next is community involvement. Community involvement. That would be in room H107. We have our own Gilbert Kanji. He would be leading out in that workshop. He presently serves as the Pastoral Services Manager for the Sanitarium in SPD, and we are blessed to have him. He used to be our GCU Director, and he will be sharing with us on that. Personal evangelism, I'm sorry. That will be in room H202. We have Felix Njini, the Youth and Education Director for Zimbabwe Central Union Conference. Where is he? Come forward. The room is 202. The support team, please come forward. Then we have the other workshop would be the place and role of the Bible in this contemporary era. The place and role of the Bible in this contemporary era, and that will be right here in the church. We have, for that, Abner de los Santos, who is also one of the vice president of the General Conference. He arrived this morning. We'll give a few minutes, but I know at the appointed time he will be here for that workshop. It's going to be right here in the church. And then the next is stewardship and church finance. Stewardship and church finance. It will be in the boardroom up here when you go through the back and up. And we have Duncan Mumbo, who is the chaplain of this university. He's the one that will be leading out in that. Support team, please come forward. The room is up. You pass through this door or the other door and you go up. The next is church discipline, and that will be in the science building, room 149. Church discipline, science building, room 149. That will be taken by Ugochukwu Elems, Youth and PCM Director, WAD. And that happens to be myself. Support team, please come as well. And then we have entrepreneurship. Will also be in the science building. The science building is next to the humanities building. entrepreneurship will also take place in the Science Building, room 239. And we have Uzonna Nwangwa. He is the founder and CEO of Ivan Global and Investment Groups. So let him come forward. And the support team, please come. The room is 239, 239, 239. All right, so these are the workshops. And at this point, I want to say thank you. My job is done. We would... oh, did I skip? Yeah, there's another workshop. How did I skip that? Just one moment. Oh. I'm sorry. Yeah, there's another workshop, the workshop on Geoscience Research Institute and its... Please pardon me, we just have a little... Okay. All right, so the Geoscience Research Institute and its services will take place in the Humanities Building, and that will be in room 206. 206. And let me invite the presenter, Oyedeji Oluwole, to come forward, and the support team, please come. It will be in room 206 in the Humanities Building. And then the one moment. I think we covered the workshops. All right, so at this point we would want to pray, and then we'll have a short break, and we expect that within the break everyone goes for the various workshops that you want to attend. Now the procedure is this. Now the procedure will be this. The workshop presenters would always be in the same room, and they will continue to present the same workshop, so that we are supposed to be rotating as delegates. We don't expect you to go back to the same workshop, because that will mean you are depriving some other persons from participating in that workshop. We expect that when we go for this immediate workshop, you attend just one, and then by the next, until you have 6 workshops on the whole. So please don't repeat a workshop so that you don't deprive other people from benefiting. Again, let me just run through. We have Think Big, and that will be in the Food and Consumer Science building. We have the Beauty of Christian Living, room 15, Senior Youth Leadership, Curriculum, room 17, Morality, age